So, for those of you who may not be familiar, the NPDA supports franchise and independent powersports dealers through education, advocacy, programs, and practical resources, all focused on helping dealers build a stronger, more professional, and profitable industry. The Partner Webinar series gives dealers direct access to the companies, tools, and people helping shape the powersports retail landscape with one goal in mind, keeping dealers informed, connected, and exposed to ideas they can actually put to work. Today's webinar focuses on one of the most important parts of the dealership sales process, moving a customer from yes to delivered. Every dealer knows the moment a customer comes back from a test ride excited and ready to move forward, then the process slows down. Sales is work in numbers, F&I is juggling approvals, menus, lenders, paperwork, signatures, and multiple systems. The customer waits, the excitement fades, and on a busy Saturday, that friction can cost time, gross, CSI, and sometimes the deal itself. That is the problem One Dealer Lane was built to address. We're joined today by Jason White. See, I get everybody's name wrong. Founding partner of One Dealer Lane and dealer principal at Fay Myers Motorcycle World. Michael Graves, founding partner of One Dealer Lane and dealer principal at Steamboat Powersports. And Param, not going to pronounce his name, chief operating officer of One Dealer Lane. What makes today's session especially valuable is that Jason and Michael are dealers. They saw the same software gap many stores face every day and help build a centralized platform designed specifically to streamline the powersports sales and finance process. Today, they'll share what they saw inside their own dealerships, why they believed a better solution was needed, and how One Dealer Lane is helping stores simplify desking, financing, menu presentation, and deal flow. We'll also see a live demo from the ODL team. The goal today is practical reduce friction, improve speed, protect gross, help teams work more efficiently, and keep customers excited all the way through delivery. Please drop your questions or comments in the Q&A. We'll work them in as we go or save them for the final portion of this session. This webinar is being recorded and the recording and presentation will be made available to everybody afterwards. With that, I'll turn it over to the ODL team.
Thank you, Mark. Jason and Michael, we'll turn it over to you to do some intros and we can get started.
Great. Hi, my name is Jason White. I've been with Fay Myers for about 30 years and also have worked in the automotive space with Shop Automotive Group, where we do one price, one person, 1 hour. And through that, help manage the A to Z sync software for single point of contact on the automotive side. And it's what's currently powering the Amazon shopping experience online.
Hi, my name is Michael Graves, and I have been a powersports dealer since 2007. Bought a couple of dealerships from one of my partners in the automotive business, World Class Automotive. I was partners with them in a number of dealerships, Texas, primarily in that state, and saw a need for ODL and, reach out to Jason, and Jason reached out to Parm. And Jason can fill in a little bit of the void over how that all just timing of the events and how sequence of occurrences.
Yeah. So I'll kind of go through kind of what One Dealer Lane is and what the vision was and kind of how we got to where we're at. Obviously, Powersports has always been about 10 or 15 years behind the automotive space from a technology perspective. We saw a gap in the way in which Powersports was able to retail and present products. With our experience with A to Z Sync and working with Michael Graves for a long period of time, we looked at, can we bring A to Z Sync into Powersports and create a single point of contact sales system? And through doing that, we really evaluated that taking an automotive software and stuffing it into Powersports had a lot of different challenges. It didn't really fit exactly right. And we see that kind of throughout all the tech stacks. When automotive tech companies come into the space, there's just gaps and differences. So lucky enough, we ran across and met Parm, who was one of the original software developers for App One, and he had helped develop the tool that Cabela's and Bass Pro Shops started selling ATVs through their stores. He developed the digital file transfer system that allowed an hourly employee to sell a unit over the counter. So met Parm and I called Michael and said, I think I found a guy that can build what we want to build. And we sat down together and we drew on a whiteboard kind of what we wanted to see and how we could remove friction from both consumer and sales staff, and how we could actually improve the overall process. And we self-funded ourselves and started moving that direction. One of our first tests, we were really attacking the finance side initially, and one of our first tests came along was MarineMax. We actually worked in the MarineMax side to drive product rating and remitting. So, well, we wanted to build this software to solve both the sales and finance side. It was born in the rate and remittance of products and menus inside of the finance department. So the tool was born there. We currently have about 30 dealers on, and we're growing. One of the dealers that we brought on early was the Sonic Automotive Group, who purchased the Sturgis Harley-Davidson store. And last year, our software actually drove their entire sales process that used to be on sticky notes and clipboard paper. And it sold near 1,300 units over the Sturgis event and took in about 675 trades. That software drove that entire event, and we learned a lot from that as well. So we are very marine, RV, and power sports driven. We can take multiple trades. We can handle multiple things that most automotive systems cannot. So it makes it completely different. So one of the things that you see in the automotive space, and we learned from our single point of contact, is there are as many as 5 logins dealing with CRMs, DMSs, lender portals, F&I rating, e-signing, all these platforms you have to log into to figure out what's going on. And with Lightspeed being one of the largest DMS systems in the space, we got direct integrations working with them right away. We have direct integrations to multiple CRMs. And what we wanted to do was create a middleware that allowed us to manage what was happening inside the dealership from start to finish through the sales flow. And we wanted to digitize the entire process. So, from all of us that kind of grew up in the old Limco days, myself, and some of the Spader stuff, we were using paper menus and, paper traffic logs, and we've evolved into CRMs and whatnot, and starting in and out of DMS. So we built this software to be extremely flexible because there's so many different sales processes in Powersports, where we see in automotive more consistently, everything starts in the CRM and then moves through the flow. For us, what we saw in Powersports, Marine RV, is some start in DMS, some start in CRM, some don't have either. So we built ODL to allow you to either start an ODL, start in the CRM, wherever you want to start, and then pull that data through, so we remove the redundancies of inputs. And one of the biggest things we did in all of our discussions were not to make it do any one set process. It has the ability to be a tad bit more malleable than most software systems you see to try and fit the sales processes. Because of my background, we're a large store. We're, a 2,500 unit plus store a year. In the summertime, we sell 300 units, and Michael's stores are snowmobile driven stores, smaller remote stores. We sat and looked at every process and tried to understand, how does this fit each size dealer on the platform, and how can we make sure that the way we do it isn't necessarily the way everyone else wants to do it. So we wanted to try and remove the friction, like I said, from every part of the process. We created a digital credit app. This is the way the system actually works. So you guys can see, we created a digital credit app, digitizing a single credit app form, which is, again, completely malleable. It can be very extensive credit app. It can be a short version of a credit app. You can do soft pull early on if you decide you want to do that. You can do however you want to do it. You can, but we built that process, and then we built the sales process for desking, as well as a finance menu. What we don't want to be, and what we aren't, we're not a menu system, and we're not a CRM. While we manage everything in the middle, we do have a menu, and we have the ability to use our system really from front to back, but we if you have an existing menu or have an existing company you have a relationship with, we can plug into the menu and allow you to use that said system. But what we want to do is ensure that the customer flow is very seamless and easy to follow inside of your system. Where is it going? What's happening? Can I get red flags verification, which it does that as well? Can I submit and scrape to a lender? It does that as well. Can I present a menu remotely? You can do all kinds of different things inside the system while being compliant. One of the other things that you always see in power sports and automotive is the friction between sales and finance. In this system, you can create checklists that require sales staff and or sales managers to follow a set process and check certain boxes before it can move forward. And some dealerships, you may not want as tight of controls. You can loosen those controls and make them fit what fits you the best. Every time something moves within the system, there are notifications and processes that will identify, hey, finance, we got a credit app here. Let's work through the credit app. Hey, salesperson, you received a credit app from the customer. It will communicate to everyone involved. The system is very, very, it ties everything very much together, which is something you don't see. So if you start a sales process on a deal, you can have a remote sales manager or a sales manager in the back unloading a truck. They will get a text notification. Hey, we have a deal to work on the sales floor. They can pull that deal up on their cell phone and see the profitability of the deal and communicate back to the salesperson as to not slow the process down. We have integrations to lenders. We have some direct integrations to lenders actually into LOS systems that allow us to push and pull approvals rapidly. We are working on more of those. We have many of those on the horizon. We have direct integrations to finance products. That's what you see on the bottom here. So many finance product providers, we can actually rate products from VIN number and from CC size, all different kinds of ways. We can rate OEM products inside the system, and we can present different pieces to the consumer. We are working on integrations right now with DMV to allow for full registration as well. And we're working with Lightspeed to get more integrated push and pull. Currently, we are on a pull only system, just like everyone inside of Lightspeed, but we are working to get that where it can push and pull. Inside the system also, what helps try to remove some of the process, you can capture driver's license IDs, proof of insurance, titles, registration, and you can download that in the system and push it to the finance department for review. Vehicle taxing. Sorry, I want to go back one more. Vehicle taxing. It does have a tax system that will verify the exact tax for the customer, so we ensure we get a good proposal to the customer. Keep moving, Parm.
That's a general overview, but I think what Jason really, one of the things I want to stress is this is not a system that you have to change your way of doing business to use. It's modifiable, as Jason has said, so that I'm wanting to move more to a single point of contact sales system where Jason probably is not going to do that. And both of us can get our way, and the system is designed so ever how you do your processes, you in fact can use this system.
Yeah, the system is, you can do Foursquare traditional, you can do it however you want to do it. The system is very, very moldable. There are two lanes with best fit the system. We have a sales lane and a finance lane. Sales lane has lead capture, CRM and DMS sync and integration, multiple unit quotes, trade-ins, desk approval, sales workflow management, which will show you some of the stuff on the back end of this proposal. You can see how that works. Also has the digital credit app, which allows for soft pull or hard pull. It can be completely managed mobilely for a consumer. Our entire sales staff is on iPads, so we work our entire process off of an iPad. And then you have the finance lane, which is the red flag compliance, multi-lender submission. We have lender APIs. We own our own e-signature tool, so you don't have to pay a DocuSign fee. We own our own e-signature tool. We have e-contracting, and we have some deep reporting and analytics as well. And then we have a menu. Obviously, like I said before, if you have a menu that your finance team is performing well with, or your insurance provider or warranty provider want you to use, we can integrate with that as well. We integrate with quite a few now, but we have full digital rating, menu presentation, customer-driven support. I'm sorry, customer-driven product selection. We have electronic automatic remittance to those providers if the provider has that ability on their end, which quite a few do. We have Safeguard, IAS, Galt, quite a few integrations there, Riders Advantage. So we have some really nice tools there, which is very VIN specific. And we also have some a la carte abilities. If you just want a menu or you just want certain pieces of the product, you can do that and then evolve into the full system. So next piece, please.
All right. Thank you, Jason. So now what we're going to do is we're going to run through and just give an overview visually of everything Jason's just described and kind of how the system is set up and how it flows. And then we'll leave time for Q&A at the end. So as Jason described, you can start the process, your desking process, whichever way you want to. If you have a CRM, you can actually search and pull the leads in from the CRM directly. So as you can see here from the screenshot, this is an example of where these leads are pulling from DP360 as well as Lightspeed. So if you've already started the process, you've already logged the lead, the customer, the opportunity in your CRM, we have the ability to pull that information into ODL and start the process. Conversely, you can also start the process in ODL. So for smaller stores or stores that may not be using a CRM, right, we have a very mobile-friendly digital way to quickly send the customer a link to their device to help them put in their basic information to start the process. Once you send the link to the customer, let's say you used ODL to send the link to the customer, as Jason mentioned, we have been designed to be mobile first. The customer gets a very simple link. They can start completing their basic information. We even offer a photo ID scan where they can take a picture of their photo ID to get started, right? And it'll basically extract all the information from it. And this kind of allows you the ability to pull the customer in, if you don't already have it, to start preparing a quote and start the desking process in ODL. Desking, as Jason mentioned, every store is a little bit different, but a lot of stores that are doing it on the floor are doing this on a tablet device. So it's been designed to be tablet friendly. Customer information will either automatically, like I mentioned, pull in from your CRM, or you can capture it. We have the ability to capture trade information. You can VIN decode the trade if you want to. If you have it, you can do multiple trades right here, as you can see. And then the other thing we also have is integration to Motomate 123. So for those that are aware, it's a platform that basically allows you to value trades and put a number on it, amongst other things. We're going to be working on Moto Hunt integration in the next quarter as well. So what this really allows you to do, and the way it works in the flow, is salesperson is capturing this information interactively from the customer and can automatically push this to Motomate to notify sales manager to start the appraisal process. So while the salesperson is still working the deal with the customer interactively, sales manager can already get notified that, hey, there's a trade that he needs to go start putting a number on. We're fully integrated with Lightspeed, so we'll pull in all your major unit inventory from Lightspeed. So you can build a quote with one unit, multiple units. We support all varieties. You can even build a quote. What we've found is a lot of salespeople using our tool like to build a quote with multiple units on it, if that's what the customer is looking to buy. And then if in their back end in their finance process, they need individual deals in Lightspeed, because that's how their lenders need it, then you have the ability to split it downstream. So it allows you to speed up the process upfront quicker, and then have the ability to quickly break it up how you want it on the back end when it gets to finance. All the pricing information, freight, prep, everything will pull in from Lightspeed. And as you can see, we have a worksheet here that's digital, where you can basically, it automatically calculates taxes. We have our own tax engine that's been built where depending on where you're at, I know, for example, Colorado, they tax based on where the customer is at using the customer address. So it'll do all those calculations automatically for you right within the system. You can even present multiple payments. So at this point, right? So you can choose to present up to 3 pay terms with 3 different down payment options. And I'll show you what that looks like on the next screen. Some stores are also starting the discussion of products early on first pencil. So it's flexible. If you want to do that, we have the ability to set up profiles that allow you to, based on the type of unit, if you want to present certain products early on first pencil, you can do that. If not, no worries. When we get to menu, that's where you'll do the full-blown menu presentation. So it's flexible in that regard. One of the things we've observed, and one of the tenets we've tried to do is, customers hate it when salesperson has to leave them and go touch the desk on any questions, what have you. And so we've built some tools and messaging where salesperson, while they're still sitting with the customer interactively, can ping the sales manager, and sales manager can be wherever. They could be back in the service department taking care of an issue over there, unloading some new units, and they're going to get pinged, as Jason mentioned, on their phone. They'll have the ability to see there's a new deal. They'll be able to view notes on it, respond interactively back and forth. So we've tried to capture that entire trail digitally. Of course, if stores still want the practice of, salesperson want to go touch the desk as well, they can certainly do that. And the good thing with that is sales manager will be able to bring up the deal and see exactly how it's been built and what they need to discuss with the sales associate. Once the quote has been built, sales manager has approved it. Depending on the process, we also have the ability to set up different approval flows. For example, in your store, you may have certain salespeople, senior salespeople, been there a while that you trust, and you can put them on autopilot. We can set them up to basically flow through the deal, especially if it's at MSRP or starting price, all the way through without escalating to a sales manager. Other junior salespeople, new hires, we can set up a flow where their deals would need to push to a sales manager for approval and review before numbers are presented to the customer. When it comes to presenting numbers to the customer, you can do it any which way, right? If you're doing everything on a tablet device, you can digitally present it on a tablet device, as you can see here. You can, as I mentioned earlier, present multiple term payment options with different down payment options. We can even capture some custom notes as the salesperson is talking to the customer. That'll be useful for sales manager and finance downstream. You can also send this quote digitally if the customer is not physically present at the store for remote customers, as well as if you would prefer printing and having a print walkthrough with the customer as well, that option is available as well. So it's flexible, and we try not to prescribe one process or the other. I will say, though, what we have found is we've had stores that have started with ODL and starting to print everything, but then they quickly realize that it ends up being extra work. And so a lot of them have transitioned to trying to do everything digitally more. Once the quote has been accepted and you have acceptance on base numbers and first pencil, right? Obviously, the next step is to collect a credit application. This is all seamless. You basically can text the customer a link, and the customer can fill out the credit app right on their own phone, either while they're at the store or if they're a remote customer. We also have all our stores that are on ODL have basically updated their credit apps on their website to also capture the credit app from there if it came in. And as Jason mentioned, every time a credit app gets completed, you're going to get notified. You can customize where you want those notifications to go. And everything kind of comes into the one dashboard that Jason talked about earlier, from where you can work. The other good thing is if we do have your CRM integrated, and let's say a customer went to your website and filled out a credit app, we would have the ability to automatically create that lead in the CRM as well, so your CRM stays in sync. One of the things we found is often, especially on busy days, incomplete deals coming to finance to work. If you have a traditional two-step process with sales and finance. And so Jason mentioned this earlier, we can set up customizable checklists, right? To basically define, here's everything we need done on this deal in sales before it can come to finance. And this can be customized based on type of deal, type of unit, etc. So it's fairly flexible, and by store, obviously. And so the purpose of this is essentially what you want is not to have bottlenecks downstream when it gets handed off to finance when things are missing, and try to enforce upfront for the sales associate or manager to get everything collected upfront before it transitions to finance. So that was a high-level overview of kind of the sales flow and how things work. And now we'll kind of jump into the finance flow and the finance lane, what Jason talked about. So as you know, in Powersports, most of these lenders, Octane, Sheffield, whatever, have their own lender portals. We've been talking to quite a few of them to obviously get direct API integration, which is in the works. Jason mentioned we also have direct API integration with a credit union platform that has about 600 credit unions, and our Cuddle integration will launch next month. But until then, what we have built is a quick fill extension tool, is what we call it. And as you saw in the previous, we've basically built a deal in ODL. We've captured a credit app in ODL, all linked. And what this tool allows you to do is essentially similar to some other tools out there, automatically populate that information into a variety of the lender portals, saving you keystrokes, saving you time, minimizing data input errors, or what have you. For us, we believe this is a short-term goal. Our goal is to get to a point where we have more direct API integrations to automatically flow deals. And once we have that in place, we're going to be also allowing you stores to configure some type of automatic routing rules where based upon certain things, you can automatically route to certain lenders. Mark, I see you have your hands raised. So.
And Param, you said you have some integrations with Lightspeed, and I was wondering, is that kind of the standard integration we're seeing where it's pretty much read only, or do you have the ability now to push some data outside of just the customer's contact information back in? Can you push lead information, deal information?
Yes. So we have the standard read that you've seen, and what we have also built, and we're working very closely with the Lightspeed team to enhance it. But in the typical flow, what I'm walking through right now, you pencil the deal or you build the deal digitally in ODL, like I showed on the sales lane. We move into finance, we submit to lenders, we build a menu, we present a menu, and right at the end, we have the ability to push and create the deal in Lightspeed. And when we push and create the deal in Lightspeed, it's going to create the customer, it's going to attach it to the right unit. Whatever products the customer chose in the menu would also get populated over there, right? And then from there, the deal's already there. There are some limitations with that, right? We can't do co-buyers just yet, multiple trades just yet. Lightspeed team is aware and we're working closely with them. But that is the level of push we have back in Lightspeed right now.
Yeah, cool. And Michael also had a question. He said he couldn't see the details of the screenshot, but in the desking application, he said, I assume it shows the manager the gross margin.
Yes, we have a section that's permission controlled and where you can review the profitability, where the manager will be able to see the profitability of the deal. And then as they're rolling payments, they'll be able to see how that impacts the margin and profitability plus minus. So
cool. Thank you.
So continuing on, we've got the browser extension tool that can help you populate portals like Octane, Sheffield, most of the ones that are out there. But our longer term goal is to obviously work with dealers, get more dealers on it, so we can work towards getting direct API integrations with the lenders. And that's kind of our vision for it. This just shows you an example of how the population would work on Octane as an example. So one of the other things we have found is obviously with the problem statement is with every lender having their own portal. Let's say you submitted the deal to 3 different lenders, right? You now have to go check, log on to each one of those portals to see what each lender did, right? And what ODL offers you to do is keep track of all that digitally in one place on a deal, right? So right here, you can see Ducati declined it, Sheffield conditionally approved it at 54 months, Space Age approved it at 60 months, 799, right? And with Space Age, since we have the electronic integration, it goes digitally. So it allows you to build a digital deal jacket with and then the other thing that we found is also often if you're having a separate finance versus sales flow, people on the sales floor, certain sales managers want to see how finance is progressing, with which lenders it's been submitted to, what's approved, so we can offer that central dashboard visibility with notifications to keep both sides in sync as well.
How long does it take when a new lender, let's say that a dealer has got a regional lender that is not national and you haven't worked with them? How long does it take to you to kind of build some integrations with them?
So it depends, right? So if you're talking about the full API integration, we would have to engage with them. That's typically going to take, assuming they have APIs already available on their end to do it, 30 to 45 days.
Okay.
For the quick fill extension, if it's just a portal, same thing there. We believe we can get it up and running. We have done plenty of these now. We have about a dozen of them already done. So we're pretty fast and we can move in, probably 30 days or less, we'll be able to get that set up. So
Cool. Thank you.
So the menu. So Jason talked a little bit about the menu that we've built. And so we have the ability we have got numerous integrations with a bunch of F&I providers, most of the usual suspects in Powersports. We also have integration to Penn, which for those that you don't know, Penn is an aggregator of F&I products that basically are, Revelos, for example, we connect through Penn, etc. And so through that process, once the lender approval is built, now the finance manager can go in and build his menu. As you can see here, we can set up custom menus, right? So I may have a rider's advantage menu. I may have a Galt menu. I may want to set up a menu that's different for an ATV versus a UTV, as an example. I want to present Honda differently than Kawasaki, as an example. So it's fairly flexible in that regard. And what this will go out and do is automatically, for the ones that we have direct integrations with, will automatically go pull products and pricing eligible for that deal, that unit. We also find that a lot of dealers may have certain in-house products, like they may have their own maintenance product, as an example. Those can also be loaded in here with the respective forms. So the goal is you're doing everything in one system. You can do both your OEM products, other non-OEM products like riders, and then your own products all on one menu. And the left side shows kind of how the finance manager will build the menu. The right side shows how the menu will present to the customer, right? And this can all be customizable. You can do 1 column, 2 column, 3 column, 4 column, 5 column, etc. Mark, you have a question. So.
On some of the automotive menus that I've seen, like on the right-hand side that you've got right there, the dealers have the ability to give the customer a short video that kind of shows the benefits and
Yes.
features of that. So
yes.
Is that something you have or something you're working on?
We have the ability to, for each of these products that you see here, they will be clickable and they'll open up a right panel where we can show product brochures, video links, all of that embedded. So yes.
Cool.
Now we ourselves don't build the videos for the products. We rely on the providers and or the dealers to kind of give us the videos, and we'll embed them in. So
I don't know. Michael Graves kind of looks like he's got that. He would rent himself out by the hour. Look.
Yeah. You're on mute, Michael, if you're talking. So
Sarcasm's part of the program, Michael. In case you didn't
Well,
catch
that's all
that
right.
on
I'm
the
used
prior
to it.
7.
I work with Jason White and Prom, so you can't be thin-skinned in our group.
That's an industry benefit.
Yeah.
One we don't talk about nearly enough.
Hey, one key thing here to add, obviously, is you can create a customizable menu here, but if you want to specifically on Kawasaki's present Kawasaki product, you can default the menu to only present those types of products so that you can try and hit your manufacturer goal if you want to, or you can say on used motorcycles, I only want my product. You can create predisposed
like profiles.
Yeah, profiles that it'll actually present differently to each product the way you want.
Yeah, like as an example, I don't sell anything but OEM products for snowmobiles, warranties, because the loss ratios. But
because they're snowmobiles.
Yeah, because they're snowmobiles. Thank you, Mark, for clarifying that.
Yeah, and then we can also do remote menu presentations, as Jason mentioned, so you can send the menu remotely. Most of our stores are building the menu and then they're pairing it with a tablet device and handing the tablet to the customer. And the customer can interact with the menu themselves on the tablet, make their selections, what have you. So if we hand the tablet to a customer can build a custom package, as we can see here, and they can drag and drop and interact what products they feel they want into that custom package. Gives them a little bit sense of engagement and empowerment in the purchase decision over here. And then once they've chosen what they want, we'd basically go to a confirmation, right? We have all the standard disclosures, base payment, final payment, what have you, but this is a chance for finance manager to do a second close and just talk about kind of review, here's what's been selected, what's not been, and basically give them an opportunity to kind of, if they say, okay, you know what, yes, I want the appearance, real quickly, they can move the appearance up to selected, it'll recalc everything for them.
One thing I want to sort of interject right there, Parm, is also the fact that you may have a need to break something out on this, and if you need to, you do have a separate column on the menu that is customer can do, and I see that you have that over the left-hand side, but that actually lets the customer interact if they want to build their own menu.
Yeah. Jason mentioned we built our own e-sign tool. So once the customer chooses their products, they digitally sign. We store everything in a digital deal jacket so that I'm sure this has never happened, right? Customer comes back later in service and said they bought the tire and wheel when they didn't really. So service can bring up, here's what was presented to you at this time of sale. Here's what you accepted, what you didn't. So we maintain all those records digitally. But then also all the F&I forms and deal jacket forms, those can be signed electronically within our tool, right? Both on store as well as remote. Later this year, we're going to be working on getting rentals and rentals law contracts and forms into the system. Obviously, those got to get licensed from them. So that's something that's in our roadmap to implement later this year. But the way the stores are working right now is all the F&I contracts get produced in our system through the direct integrations. And then the dealers can also produce the forms in Lightspeed or wherever else and upload them into a single signing ceremony. So the customer only has to sign once in our tool. So that's our e-sign tool. Yeah, and then as you can see here, completed deal jacket. Once the customer signed, we can see they've signed, what time they signed. And then obviously certain forms need to be signed by the dealer. They can do that as well. And so we maintain an entire audit trail, and all this is accessible on the deal. So. With that, Jason, a topic near and dear to you. So I'll turn it over to you. So.
All right. So this is a super cool part that I live in every day. You can track what's happening in the store wherever you are. One of the biggest challenges, obviously, as someone that's in and out of the store is do you log into your CRM to figure out what's happening? Do you log into your DMS to see what's happening? Are the deals capped, uncapped? What's happening? You can look at your day, look at your week compared to last year, however you want to look. This tells you that there's been 19 deals quoted on the upper left-hand corner. You have 17 deals that have been completed. You have 3 credit ups that have come into the system. You have 2 that started a credit up that didn't finish. You actually can see those. If you want to tickle remind those 2 people, you can. And then how many deals were totally closed? 23 deals. It shows you profitability. I was tracking a day. We had a big tent sale this last weekend. Had a pretty busy day. And we did 42 units. We had about 110 last week. But when you look at what we were doing, I could track every single deal. So this is the sales recap piece. You see, I can look at just finance deals, just cash deals, new deals, used deals. I can see what my margin is. I can see what the age of the inventory that's turning, what the profit on each deal was. I can click on the deal and go through it. And then you click the next button, Parm, I think it shows the finance side. And then you can see your finance recap. How many deals went to the finance office? How much doc fee? What was the total finance reserve? How long did they spend on the menu? How many products were presented? So I can see on each deal, we presented 5 products here, 6 here, 8 here. how many were sold, what was my profit in F&I, and where did the profit come from. So I see this on the daily dashboard. I watch my store all day long. I can see how it's moving through the system, what's actually happening, who's closing what. The next piece again.
Mark has a question.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mark, please.
Hey, Jason, Charlie had a question. He said, how much does this platform reduce the overall deal processing time?
It's a great question. I mean, obviously it depends on which section you take. If you take the entire section, I've got salespeople that are handling 5, 6, 7 deals a day from start to finish, with ease, that used to struggle running around. I think from what you're doing inside the system is removing a ton of friction points, ensuring finance has all the information. I'm not re-entering the information anywhere, so I'm removing all the redundancy submission points. I would say it reduces it or speeds it up 2 times
Have
at
have you
minimum.
found that the mistakes that your team is making, is that being reduced as well?
It's probably the number one thing my finance team says, that they have less hatred to my sales department for making mistakes because it's cleaned up in the system. Yes. I mean,
So
that part is tremendous.
not no hatred, but less hatred.
Yeah, exactly.
And what would you say? Like I know you run a big dealership as well, bigger than ours. What would you say that your average time is from when a customer comes in to and agrees that here's the unit they want to buy to when they're done and ready to go outside of the delivery of the vehicle?
So I think that depends on how proactive the salesperson is. You can capture inside the system, driver's license, all the insurance information, the trade information. If you check all the boxes ahead of time and you utilize the system, I mean, a deal from very start to finish, like once you agree on a unit,
Uh-huh.
you can move. A cash deal can move really quickly, 20 minutes in a
And
cash deal. A finance deal, trades, all those different pieces that play into it. I mean, it varies, Mark, to be honest with you.
what kind of impact have you seen on your F&I numbers out of this? Because I know that, a lot of times consumers, when they get frustrated with the process and how long it takes, that becomes a hurdle for the F&I department because the customers kind of put their hands up and going, I don't want to be tied to this business anymore because they already have not being able to deliver on their commitments. So have you seen an improvement
So
in F&I PVR?
we're the longest tenured dealer on this system. So I've got go over 2 seasons now, and over 2 seasons, we've seen about $150 PVR increase.
Cool.
What you're seeing is, and prior to that, we had the Darwin menu in place. So moving to a digital menu system and tracking the consistency of presentations has really driven our PVR number up overall, Mark. And I think speed and friction, removing a friction has sped up everything as well and increased our overall PVR.
Cool. Thank you.
Mhm. So this has the F&I recap. You can click it again, which day on
Testimonials,
a day.
yes.
Farm, you want to click the button one more time? This will track which brands you sold the most of, new and used, what's the top model you sold for the given time frame. I can look at last month, this month, the day, who my top salespeople were, what their profit was. That's all on the same screen that scrolls down. And then you have a margin breakdown by type, new unit cash deals. Here's my margin. Here's my back end profitability. Here's what my total store looks like. This is all on the front screen, and this reporting in one system really helps me know exactly what's going on all the time inside the store. I live in this. I'm very passionate about knowing what's happening. You got to measure, to manage, as you know. And so I think understanding what's happening and finding the time frame of, where we are picking up speed, where we're not, where we need to apply help. So it's been a very good piece. One more button. Do we show so this part is new, and we are demoing this completely. I talked about on the left-hand side, your warranty products, if they have electronic remittance, you can either directly remit an ACH, which pays for it a month end, or you can create an invoice that prints in your accounting department to pay what warranty products you actually sold so that you ensure that everyone gets registered correctly. That's an important key component that's there. On the right-hand side, we have an AI tool that allows you, and I'm in this all the time. How is my month for May on the same date trending compared to last year by OEM. When I ask that question, it'll tell me last year what my total sales were to the date by OEM. What's my margin look like last year to this year? I can look at date. Another cool thing, I can go and say, ZX636, how many did I sell and what's the average margin last year? It'll tell me that if I'm trying to do orders, I want to look at things. So we're in the pilot phase of this. We have 3 dealers testing the AI tool, and it's an awesome tool as well. So those are things that are kind of near and dear to my heart.
I think we've
Just kind
covered.
of recap. And we did 42. We were short 2 F&I people due to illness and some other things that were going on. So we were running extremely short. I plugged a sales manager into finance, and he could run the dashboard from where he was at, approve deals, push deals, and we sped up cash deals, and to do 42 units in the day was pretty tremendous. And we did 63 for 2 days. It was great. Obviously, the Sturgis Rally, it's tested 1,300 plus units in 2 weeks. Mancuso in Houston has a way higher customer satisfaction due to the process. We get a lot of feedback from the customers, how nice it is that they can just on their mobile phone fill out a credit app. They can take a picture of ID and shoot it to us. They can do all these things. Most dealers aren't using technology in that way, and we're getting a lot of positive customer feedback from that.
Yeah, I get a lot of feedback in my dealership from customers that like the neatness and everything's printed. It's not a scratched up 4 square they're trying to look at, and all the things. They like all of that and the transparency. When we want to change things and they say, well, I want to look at a 60-month versus, a 36-month or something like that, the system changes it instantly. So that transparency builds trust, and we all know that trust builds sales.
So the big thing here, obviously, is you eliminate 5 logins, you get 1 login, you can see what's going on. The system is very, very, flexible. If you want to follow your traditional process and print sheets, you can do that. We knew that dealers are in love with their sticky notes still. So the transition to technology is challenging for some. So this system fits your traditional 4 square. You want to follow a process a certain way. It also has the ability to really accelerate the single point of contact or a single person doing a deal from start to finish. And you eliminate the rekey data. So once you get the data correctly, you have 1 piece of data, 1 input that pushes all the way through everywhere else. And the e-signing and e-vault that we have and real-time KPIs, the idea is obviously for this platform to really make it easier to manage your store and remove the friction in all spots.
It basically eliminates anything that we had problems with, and that's why Jason and I stayed very active with Parm on building the system. Hey, we need this. Hey, we need that. I need a system that tracks so that if a customer, like Parm says, comes in and they've got an issue about, did I buy a wheel and tire? No, I bought wheel and tire. So often the service manager has to go find somebody, whoever sold them that, and so on and so forth. And that just takes time away from the day and from the customers. Mark, you got a question?
So I had one from Charlie, and he had said, what's ODL's biggest challenge in getting this into dealerships?
I think that's a great question.
Got a few more for you as well.
Question.
Yeah, that one, technology and disrupting sales processes are holding people to a process. Both are challenges. I would say that we see people tech stack, they're in love with a certain process they're currently doing. I think going digital is something I sat on the desk, I sat in F&I, I've done all those things. You get used to a paper process, trying to get used to the way in which digital movement happens is challenging. Once you get it in and you start to see, I've got guys that have been doing this, selling bikes for 30 years, very successfully. I've got a great sales guy. One of my favorite statements is he was the last to adopt. So we adopted in phases. And once I got him on the system, he walked up to my office and said, Jason, I don't know why we didn't do this earlier. This is saving me time. I'm selling easier. It makes the entire thing move faster. It's adopting technology, Mark. That's probably the biggest challenge, and being accustomed to our old ways of doing things. Lemco beat some things into this dealer body in a process standpoint that sometimes it's tough to look at other ways to do it.
I've said in many webinars that the most expensive words that a dealer ever says is that's the way we've always done things.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
even you and I have had this conversation about our dealership, and it's just our process has been defined over 20 years at this point in time, and now trying this would really turn things upside down, and it's something that we've discussed. We're just not quite there yet, so I get that as
Well,
being a legitimate
I,
concern.
I like to steal a phrase that Jason ushers in at a lot of times, and I thought he would open up. And the opening statement is, how many people thought that the internet was a fad or that social media wasn't a place that you could ever build a customer traffic or those kind of things? Oh, it's all going to pass. This is not going to pass. Digitized systems like this, whether it's ours or somebody else's, is going to be the future. And you either get on at the crest of the curve or you get on, after it passes you by.
So
Yeah. Go ahead, keep going, Mark.
few quick questions and then we'll wrap up. So I see that you got a free trial available, but I'm sure everybody wants to know what kind of pricing model do you have?
Parm, that's you, buddy.
Yeah, so what we've with the stores we have it in right now, we kind of have two main pricing models. We have certain stores that want to start small, as Jason mentioned, with just the menu piece. And so that's priced. We have a setup fee and a nominal subscription fee per month. Much way more competitive than the other menus out there. If that's where you want to start, that will just give you the ability to import a deal from Lightspeed, use our digital menu, rate, remit, present. So we have some stores that have started that way. To move into the full package, which is the sales, finance lane, everything you saw today, that's basically a monthly subscription fee, and we have multi-group location discounts as well, but that starts at about $1,000 a month. So,
What kind of levels of support do you offer? So from what hour to hour?
yeah, so if you sign up for the full package, we're going to send someone on site for training. So the way we start is once you sign up, we have a whole implementation training team that'll engage. We'll do most the setup, and let me talk a little bit about the setup, right? We've tried to make the setup as seamless as possible as compared to some of the other systems that exist. So the main integrations we'll need to turn on are Lightspeed DMS, obviously. I just want to drop a point also. We are working on some other DMS integrations as well. Like in our roadmap for next quarter, we've got Lizzie and we've got DX1, so that's coming. But right now it's Lightspeed. So turning on the Lightspeed integration takes a couple of days. Turning on your F&I provider integrations again takes a couple of days. So usually if the dealer is responsive to get us all the information we need for the setup up front, and this is one of the other things, the key, and I think someone asked the question, the challenges you see with stores adopting this is also not establishing a champion for this at the store, right? So we've seen instances where maybe owner principal liked the idea to get it in, but didn't really, and that person was not hands-on. And when it came to implement at the store, there was no real champion that believed in it, that wanted to drive it. That's where we have seen instances of failure as well. But the whole setup, if the dealer's engaged through the process, the whole setup takes about a week. We get someone on site for a week to do hands-on training, because there's a lot in here, as you saw, we've got to train, retrain sales, retrain finance. And then from there, we offer phone support, web support, chat support.
Mark,
And our team's pretty responsive.
I want to add one thing that I don't think was covered. Mark, if you don't mind 1 second. Multi-rooftop ability, what we did not cover, which I think is a very big important piece of the software that's going to really change the game for stores that have 2 or more stores. If you had a sales manager or a finance manager out, you can route approvals and deal structure and financing to another store and have them oversee and underwrite each of those deals and approve deals from a single store. So that wasn't covered enough, but there's a lot of ability to do that for people that have multiple rooftops.
And like I have multiple rooftops. I have 2 stores, not too far apart.
You muted
Michael,
yourself,
you're on
Michael.
mute.
Sorry, I don't know why it keeps muting me. Anyway, maybe they don't want me to talk. But anyway, between my 2 stores, I sometimes have to go back and forth, and having a system like this where it's very consistent, Mark, and everybody's used to using it, it's flawless. If I need to move somebody over to the other store out of one store, or I just need them to handle it from one store to the other store, they can. So that's a big versatility thing for me, and I've seen some real cost savings staffing wise. I'm always short staffed, and the mountain communities that I'm in Steamboat, primarily because of the cost of living there.
Get it? The the industry uses about 5 standard CRMs. Is there any CRMs that you don't integrate with yet?
Drive-centric is one that we're waiting on newer APIs from them. Drive-centric is relatively new in Powersports, so that's one we don't. There's a new one that's just come out, Ignite, which I think is more prevalent in Harley stores. So we've started the development work. That'll be done next month. So
Okay.
the CRM integrations, I'll just read them off that we have. Obviously, Lightspeed as a CRM. We've integrated with that. We've got DP, we've got PSX, we've got eLeads, and we've got Vim.
Okay. Last
The
question.
two ones we're working on are Ignite, and then we've started discussions with those CRM, which I think is just relatively new as well. So
Yeah, been out a bit in the RV industry. I haven't seen much of them
yeah.
in Powersports. Then last question that we had, security of the documents and long-term control and retention of documents.
Good point. We're SOC 2 Type 2 certified. Went through that. Obviously, we had to go through also, since Sonic works with us, we went through their security review as well. Everything's secured, gone through security, encryption at rest. We store documents for the life cycle of the deal. So online storage for 26 months. We can offer extended storage beyond that as well. But that's kind of where we're at today. So
Cool. All right. With that, I just wanted to thank you all for taking the time today to make this presentation. Hopefully everybody got a screenshot of way to contact the ODL team, as well as kind of notice there that they're offering a free trial to the dealers who attended this webinar. So by all means, and I think I've gone through, this is a very high level. I've gone through the one-on-one presentation with Jason a couple times at this point in time now, I believe. And there's a lot more about this system. So I would highly recommend, if you think this is a road that you want to go down, reach out to those guys and do a one-on-one presentation, and you will learn a lot more about the system. And if you don't come away excited, I'd be really surprised. With that, I'd like to thank everyone who attended today's webinar, done in conjunction with another one of our partners at the NPDA. I'm excited to announce that I am halfway through my summer partner series. So I've got 7 or 8 more of these to go. So keep an eye out every week. We're going to continue these through the rest of the spring and the summer. As a reminder, the NPDA is here not just to support our member dealers, but also the entire industry. If you're a current member, then thanks for supporting. And if you're not a member, then consider joining. Up on the shared screen, you can kind of see what the cost is to do that. Very cheap to be a member of an organization that is putting a lot of time and energy into improving the industry. Can tell you that right now, one of the big projects that we're working on is the FTC questions about pricing transparency. And we are also today just started reaching out to every OEM with a push to get freight and setup included in the MSRP of every vehicle, which ultimately would preempt the FTC actions anyway. So that's going to be our big pressure to get all that done for the 2027 model release. So more stuff coming, but if you can support the organization, that would be great, and we'd really appreciate it. And thanks again to everybody who took the time to attend today's webinar. If you have any further questions, don't hesitate to reach out. We will turn this into a YouTube video that'll be posted on the NPDA website within a couple of days. So if you missed anything or want to share this with any of your team members, just to go back and look at anything that you might missed or see what their thoughts are about going down this road, then just look for that video and you'll be able to recap everything that we discussed today. With that, any final words, Jason, Michael, or Param?
Thank you for having us, hosting us.
Yeah, appreciate it. And I really support your push on the freight and setup piece. So
Yeah,
thanks for
very
all your
much
work
so,
on that
Mark.
stuff.
Yeah, we did a poll, found 90% of dealers were supporting of that. So we recognize that we're never going to get to 100%, but it is a big push at this point in time. And I feel pretty optimistic from what I've heard that we should hopefully in the next few days be able to announce that we've at least got a couple of the industry OEs who are committed to that. And we will make it very loud and clear about the ones who are doing the right thing and the ones who aren't. So that's where we're at. All right, I'm going to get out of here. Hope everyone has a good day, and I will see you for next week's webinar next week.
Thanks, sir.
thank you.
Thank
Y'all
you.
take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.